Borders are not inviolate. What that means is that national borders between nations may be crossed for military purposes. They don't have to exist the way they are until the end of time, any more than they have existed as they are since the dawn of time. Now, for those of you who need a very simple illustration, let's look at our homes. Each of us rightly believes no trespassing. By definition, in your home, you should be able to be there and to not have anyone come in, right? Right. Unless there is a significant crime being committed. These unthinking people that say, well, I don't care what someone does in their own bedroom. Well, really? So if the bedroom is the scene of a horrific crime, then no one can go in and stop the crime? If there are crimes that are happening in a home, all right, of a significant magnitude, you can fill in the blank what crime you could think of. It is the right and the duty of police to break the door down and to go in. But even beyond that, it is the right of concerned neighbors. Okay? If you heard the cries of a child, some poor little boy, some poor little girl, something horrible was happening, and you had the ability to go into the house and stop the crime while other authorities were coming, if you had the ability to be a good Samaritan in that situation, it is your right to do so. Nobody can say inside of our home we can have a cocaine manufacturing plant. Are you following me? Well, national borders are the same way. The concept of just war that we have discussed, and by the way, if you missed yesterday's program, I did a little in-depth look, short, but on the theory of just war. Go online at our website and look at it. Or just do your own research and look at the theory of just war. Of course, a nation has the right to go into another nation for the pursuit of justice. Not necessarily for the pursuit of money. I mean, when you look at what Russia is doing with Crimea, the people of Crimea voted overwhelmingly to go back to Russia. Russia has a long history with Crimea being a part of Russia. Russia has a deep water port in Sevastopol, all right? When the U.S. took the Cherokee lands away by force from the Cherokee people, the people didn't want it. There was no vote. We didn't have a deep water port. We had no military interest whatsoever, and we had no history with the land. What we wanted was gold. What the U.S. government wanted, Andrew Jackson wanted, was gold and land, real estate, farmland. It was abominable. It was evil. It was treacherous. Anyway, I have to accept the fact that borders are not inviolate. And if another murderous rampage happens somewhere in the world, like happened in Rwanda, and neighboring countries have the ability to go in and stop it, it is our right to do so. It is our duty to do so. And the specious argument that all internal issues inside of any government, we get to do what we want here and nobody can tell us anything, it's ludicrous. It's not based in history. And it's based on a bad understanding of international law. All right. Let's talk about hopefully our leaders ratcheting things down. All right. I don't think Russia is going to try and take the Baltic states. It would be suicide if they did, because it will launch a war between NATO and Russia. Russia is not going to try and take any former Soviet republic that is a part of NATO. They're just not going to do it. And Putin is saying that they're not going to try and take Ukraine. We'll see. But by Ukraine saying, we don't want to be a part of NATO, that's realpolitik. That's Ukraine saying, look, we recognize we share this huge border with Russia. This huge border with Russia. We already have NATO members, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Poland. We already have NATO members that are bordering Russia that are part of NATO. But that happened after the Soviet Union disintegrated and they were in a weakened state. Now with Putin as their leader, with Russia becoming a stronger nation again. Russia is not going to abide having Ukraine be in NATO with a border that big. Do they have the right to do that? I don't know. I would argue they probably don't, especially because human rights, freedom, right? Freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom of association, those are the foundational rights that God has given us, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as delineated in our Declaration of Independence. These are the fundamental human rights whereby a nation could cross into another nation's border to try and protect life and liberty and property. I don't think that Russia can make a compelling argument that it has to go in to Ukraine to defend Russian peoples there. I mean, I don't buy it. So hopefully things will back down. But in the meantime, don't worry. Comrade Obama has picked 11 Russian officials to levy sanctions against. This is so embarrassing. I would love to know who could be fired at the White House for even allowing the president to do or to say this. We'll talk about it when we come back. This is the Voice of Resistance.